Hi, this is Theresa with What Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about how to set healthy boundaries with difficult people or difficult family members. So today this is really a great one as we kind of move into like the holiday seasons of kind of like where are those healthy boundaries that I require setting with my family members. And I think they're kind of or difficult people, and it could be both of them. A lot of times difficult people at work or difficult people at home can really push our boundaries, and it's really important that we have a set of boundaries for our difficult people, kind of like separate from everybody else. And I will tell you, a lot of times like family members kind of feel like it's okay to step over the line because they're family, but sometimes they're the ones that step over the boundaries or hurt us the most by stepping over our healthy boundaries that we have. And usually that can be someone who is very dominant in a family. You could have someone who's very narcissistic in a family, or someone who just feels like they're entitled to treat you this way. So it's kind of important to understand that it's okay to have boundaries with people, and it's okay to set those boundaries for you and not for them. Understand that your needs are important is the number one thing to really understand. How you feel is really important. And if someone else is pushing those boundaries, or if they're pushing you in some areas, or talking about things that you're like, I've already told you last year and the year before, or 5 years ago, I don't want to talk about this, and they're keep pushing that, it's one of those, that's a healthy boundary that you should really call them on, and kind of really understand that your needs are most important in this area. It's also a lot of times people are afraid of like hurting someone else, or they're afraid that they're not going to be understood, or this person is so used to kind of walking over my boundaries that they're not going to hold it. And it's one of those, it's okay, and it can be really hard and kind of like overwhelming to set some healthy boundaries to begin with, but I guarantee you it's really important, and it's really important for your health and your mindset of what's going on around you. Sometimes people, difficult people, really like to manipulate us, and that can be by pushing our boundaries and kind of setting their needs before our own. And that's kind of where it's kind of like really important that we really understand what our needs are in each relationship. The second one is kind of like seek out people, families or friends or coworkers at work that really value you, that really enjoy being around your energy. They really enjoy using healthy boundaries. This is one where it can be, especially family members will really kind of push that energy of like, no, you always used to tell me this or whatever else. And it's like, yeah, but I'm set new healthy boundaries for myself, and we're not going there. Because a lot of times, like I said, they will kind of push that energy in some different ways that makes you feel like you're being manipulated or kind of coerced to tell them things that you really wouldn't want to talk to them about. So that can be something that's really important. Making sure you have someone on your side, making sure that you have someone that understands what's going on in the situation and understands, so they can help you. Kind of the third one is they can really help you be like firm but kind at the same time. Setting healthy boundaries is really important. And to do this without trying to like get the person mad or angry or upset or defensive, because once you get into that area, it's one of those, it's almost like now we've like the whole thing is blown up in our face. And instead of saying this is a healthy boundary and I choose not to speak about this, and like holding that and just kind of keep saying the same thing, not being mad, upset or anything else, being firm but kind at the same time, can be something that can really challenge you, but it can really challenge them to kind of like, okay, now I really have to kind of hold on to these ideas, or I can't push this person anymore that I've done in the past. The next one is kind of having a realistic idea of how the day is going to play out, or how this scenario is going to play out, can be really one. It's kind of like attending with your family, but it's one of those making sure that you're letting them know, like, I've set some new healthy boundaries and we're going to hold to these boundaries. And when someone, like I said, when someone pushes those, be realistic about, yes, you kind of expected it to happen, but it doesn't mean that the person is opposing them. Sometimes you've never had any boundaries, so there wasn't a line. So now that you do, sometimes people will really like, oh, this is your boundary. Okay, let's honor that. And be realistic with yourself of how much you're going to tolerate if someone's not respecting your new healthy boundaries. Like I said, it can be family members or even coworkers that are kind of like have this, very demanding energy about them. The next one is be willing to walk away or to leave the area. It's kind of a great way to kind of, when you're around someone who's very toxic energy, to be willing to go, this is my boundary of when I got to walk away, and walk away and take some time for yourself. Usually what will happen is they will start texting you or emailing you or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all you need to do is answer one of them, just one, and say, I'm taking some time for myself to reevaluate what's happened. And that's it. There is no explanation or anything else. It's kind of, and you don't really need to defend yourself or anything else. It's kind of like just allowing that energy to kind of come in at you and say, I've got some time I need some time to think about this. And this can be getting you to kind of like explain yourself. Sometimes like they'll push you because they want to, push you into like making it feel like you're the problem or you're the one who's done something wrong. One of the things that's really important is to understand you're the one in charge. You're the one in charge of your energy. So you can choose to open up to someone or close off to someone as much or as little as you really require. So it can be one that can kind of change depending on what's going on and maintaining your healthy boundaries. And when someone's pushing that boundary, maybe you need to make it a stronger boundary and just saying, I'm not going there. This is a boundary for me. Can be something that can be a very healthy one for us, and can be one that is like important no matter what the scenario is or who's around. Your boundaries shouldn't change for a person just because someone else is around. Oh, my boundary for Uncle so-and-so doesn't change just because Grandpa's here. It's the same boundary. It's the same one. And if they honor you, they're going to honor your boundaries as well. And it makes it much more understandable when someone crosses that line that you have something else that you need to do. The next one is be direct. Don't kind of like dropping hints or being passive aggressive about things about your boundaries, like, oh, that's my healthy boundary. You know what I'm saying? And or kind of like, you're getting close to my boundary or kind of thing. You can tell someone, you're hitting a boundary of mine. Please stop. And it's not a discussion. It's not oh, let me tell you this. No. It's a healthy boundary for you to hold that line and to really hold that energy for them. It can be really important to be really careful about how you say that, but also be very direct. You're hitting my boundary, and I've told you this 3 times already. If you hit it one more time, I will have to make other arrangements, or I will have to do something else. You don't have to tell them what you're going to do. You can just say something else will happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'll have to make new choices at that point. And that's where it may be like, okay, I need to leave the family environment, or I need to go into my office at work, or I need to get away from the situation to kind of really think about what's coming in and allowing this. Take some time. The next one is take some time to really care for yourself. If you've been through one of these situations, it may take you, a lot of people are like, oh, you can call them in a few hours. No. It may take a few weeks to a few days for you to really work through this and kind of what is your outcome in this? What is it that you really desire from this outcome? What is it that you want to take away from this? And is there anything that you need to do, fix, change, or modify about your boundaries? And sometimes it's just, I need to make them stronger, or I need to talk about them more so people understand what my boundaries are. It can be really important. The next one is kind of learning to be assertive, learning to kind of be direct, especially if you have a very soft energy or kind of a clairsensitive energy. Sometimes it's hard for us to be really direct and hey, you're hurting my feelings or whatever it is. Many people kind of get away with being difficult because no one stands up to them. So stand up to them and say, you're hitting my boundary and I'm asking you to stop. And hold that line. And a lot of times it's because no one's ever said anything to them. It's like, I've always gotten away with it. Like, I've always gotten away with this. And now you want me to hold this boundary? Like, they'll do it, but they haven't ever been really asked to do it. And it's one of those, it can really cut down on like teasing or crossing the line. It can also be about telling someone else, like, this is my boundary. And once they hold it, it's like, wow, probably no one's ever told them that you're stepping over a boundary for us. I will tell people to kind of really take time to decide to talk about your boundaries, especially in a family situation in advance. And like I said, being willing to discuss them. This is a boundary, and you don't have to explain the who, what, when, where, and why. Like, this boundary became in because of da 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 da. This is my boundary. This is my personal boundary. This is my financial boundary. This is my whatever it is, my physical boundary. And so letting someone know that you've hit a boundary of, like, sometimes when you say that, they're like, oh, I didn't realize you had, boundaries in this area. And it's like, yes, I do. And I would appreciate you taking care of the boundary with me at the same time. And that can be something that's like, wow, I have a boundary and you can have a boundary as well. And that can really just change that energy of like, wow, I had no idea. I will say, focusing on like I statements when something goes wrong, like, I feel this, I feel like I'm being attacked, I feel like you're not listening to me, I've already told you 3 times I'm not answering that question. So make sure that you are focusing on like stating it for you, not putting it off on someone else, stating it for you. I feel uncomfortable answering that question with you. I've already told you 3 times I'm not going to answer this, or I'm not going to do this, or whatever it is. It makes things much easier, much lighter, and kind of really helps you maintain kind of responses with your family and not being angry about it. When you kind of get ready for kind of those boundaries, like someone's going to push back at this or someone's going to come at me with this, it's one of those when you really think those are what's going to happen, you may not have strong enough boundaries. It's one of those, especially when you're around someone who's very difficult in the family, making sure that you have healthy boundaries, not only for you, but for them as well. And that can be something that they've probably never even thought of. One of the things is kind of really make sure that you're stating your facts very clearly without explanation at the beginning. Because a lot of times, like when you try to explain things, you're already flustered, you're already frustrated, you're maybe even getting into the angry stage. And if you try to over explain, a lot of times you way over explain, or you're kind of giving them ammunition to come back at you. So being firm and very clear with your responses can be very important, especially when you get really upset. So think about those ahead of time. Like, what are those that you're going to do? And then kind of follow through with your plan. Once you've done this, if you're going to be consistent, you need to kind of make a plan. When someone gets to this level, I have now options. Maybe I'm going to leave the situation. Maybe I'm going to leave the family house for a period of time and calm down and cool off, or whatever it is. Maybe I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to do something else. So kind of letting those boundaries know, like, I'm going to hold this boundary and I'm going to do something else to get me out of the situation or my family out of the situation so I can feel secure again. This is really important. Kind of trusting the process. It can be a little bit frustrating at the beginning. A lot of times we're usually in fear that we're going to lose a relationship or a friendship or even a family member because you're now asking them to hold that boundary with you. Trust that the person who really truly loves you will learn how to show love and respect, not only for you, but your boundaries as well. It's really important. Make sure that you are letting people know your healthy boundaries in advance or whenever they hit them, so you can kind of like reiterate that. Like, I've already told you this is my healthy boundary. This is my boundary with this person, or this is my boundary with that energy. So that makes it a little bit easier. So let's do just a couple of cards with this of like how to set healthy boundaries with difficult people, either coworkers or family members. we'll say, usually the past, this is kind of the where I'm kind of like, this is really, I kind of feel like maybe I didn't move the deck around. But kind of like the South Node is all about kind of those healthy boundaries that we really need to set. And usually the past dictates what we should have as healthy boundaries and where those healthy boundaries should be, not only for us, but for other people as well. So that's kind of an important energy to understand, that so many times we are, the past will tell us like, this is the person that's going to hit those boundaries. And so having those plans in place in advance is going to really help us. A conjunction, and this is all about the alliance, and this can be really great when you have someone else who will back you up or kind of give you some insight, or even let you know like, hey, it's time to get out of this situation for a period of time and relax and take it easy. Second hand, and this is all about, or the second house, this is about resources, and this can be really powerful for us to have resources, to know that we can walk away, that someone else is going to help us hold those boundaries for us and support us. That's the best part. The ascendant, and this is the entrance. This can really begin a brand new healthy relationship with other people in your life. This can be a great one for not only you, but for them as well. So many times people don't set healthy boundaries because they've never learned how to do it. So make sure that you set those healthy boundaries. This is the descendant, and this is the invitation. Invite other people to understand your boundaries when you're ready to. Make sure that you're bringing their energy into what's going on and how you are choosing to share this boundary with other people. And then also let people know that you have consequences. I've already made a plan. If this, so-and-so will not hold my boundary, I'm going to get up and walk out. I'm going to leave the situation, because that's the only thing I can do to help keep me in a secure, healthy boundary with myself. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.